Our top focus story on the broadcast remains this setback to Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan at Saudi Arabia. The Saudi Crown Prince has snubbed Pakistan. There was no meeting between Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan's Army Chief General Qamar Javed Bajwa, who went to Saudi Arabia to mend fences destroyed by Pakistan's Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi, and of course a number of other measures and steps that had been taken by Pakistan. So Pakistan was not only trying to take money from Saudi Arabia and yet trying to cozy up to Turkey and Malaysia to try and establish an alternate ummah, an alternate Islamic power center, which was completely unacceptable to Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. And when Shah Mahmood Qureshi literally threatened Saudi Arabia, either you call an OIC, Organization of Islamic Conference, OIC meeting on Kashmir, or we will be forced to do it, Saudi Arabia read the Riot Act to Pakistan. They forced Pakistan to return one of $3 billion that was a loan that had been given to Pakistan. So desperate was Pakistan that Pakistan took a loan from China to repay Saudi Arabia. And then the Pakistan Army Chief, General Qamar Javed Bajwa, with DGISI in tow, they went running to Saudi Arabia, literally to Riyadh, and in a way begged for forgiveness. But there was no forgiveness. I quickly want to cut across to India Today's Foreign Affairs editor, Geeta Mohan, for more on this. So Geeta, explain the depths of Saudi Arabia's anger at Pakistan's double speak and, as some would say, double cross.
Well, the fact is that Pakistan tried to test waters, but they were testing the water in the wrong place, Gaurav. Saudi Arabia is not a country that can be bullied or threatened. These veiled threats or direct threats by Pakistan clearly showed, one, that Saudi Arabia has shown Pakistan its place with the loans and Pakistan now having to return not just these loans, but they have their entire future in trouble with Saudi Arabia. The snub by the Crown Prince clearly shows how upset Saudi Arabia is. So now it is about how much of a trouble is Shah Mahmood Qureshi in taking on Saudi Arabia on an issue which is sensitive, but also one that is of strategic in nature, with Saudi Arabia now not getting into this entire entanglement of the India-Pakistan fight and trying to stay away, which is great news for India, but terrible news for Pakistan. So yes, Shah Mahmood Qureshi, I hear, is in a lot of trouble. He lost his job during the PPP time, again, when he shut his mouth, and this time around in the PTI government also, he could very well be looking at losing his job if Saudi Arabia deems that the only way to salvage the situation is with the Foreign Minister of Pakistan going or stepping down.
Okay. Geeta, for the moment, many thanks for joining me. And are grounds now being prepared to jettison Shah Mahmood Qureshi, Pakistan's foreign minister? Because as of now, there is a total meltdown in Pakistan. 1 year after the abrogation of Article 370 in Kashmir and the total integration of J&K and Ladakh with the rest of the country, Pakistan is in a tailspin. Pakistan's Human Rights Minister, Shireen Mazari, she hit out at Shah Mahmood Qureshi for what she described was total failure of Pakistan's Kashmir agenda. The meltdown in Pakistan is complete. Imran Khan's failure to rake up the Kashmir issue globally, 1 year after the abrogation of Article 370 and the complete integration of Jammu and Kashmir with the rest of India, has exposed Pakistan's Kashmir bogey completely. And Islamabad's frustration was voiced by Pakistan's Human Rights Minister, Shireen Mazari.
मैं कहती हूँ जितना प्राइम मिनिस्टर इमरान खान ने स्टेटमेंट्स दिए हैं, ट्विटर पे ट्वीट्स किए हैं, और जितना उन्होंने पूरा नैरेटिव बदला है सिंगल हैंडेडली, अगर हमारा फॉरेन ऑफिस और जो बाकी इदारे कश्मीर की पॉलिसी बना रहे हैं वो इसको टेक अप करते तो आज हालात बहुत फर्क होते. We have let down the Kashmiris.
Shireen Mazari hit out at Pakistan's Foreign Office, led by this man, Shah Mahmood Qureshi, Pakistan's Foreign Minister, who is in the line of fire for not being able to gather any global support on Kashmir. He also stands accused of antagonizing Pakistan's financial benefactor, Saudi Arabia, by claiming if Riyadh wasn't keen on an OIC meet on Kashmir, then Pakistan would call a meeting of the organization. An angry Saudi Arabia hit back, forcing Pakistan to immediately return one of $3 billion loan. In sheer panic, Pakistan's army chief, General Qamar Javed Bajwa, rushed to Riyadh, as some suggest, to apologize for Qureshi speaking out of turn. Pakistan's Federal Minister for Kashmir and Gilgit and Baltistan attacked the opposition, going to the extent of calling some of them traitors. And Maulana Fazlur Rahman of Pakistan's Jamiyat-e-Ulema Islam, who dreams of replacing Imran Khan as Pakistan's Prime Minister, took potshots at Imran Khan, saying instead of taking Kashmir, now the challenge for Pakistan is to save Muzaffarabad. Saudi Arabia is constantly mounting pressure on Pakistan to stop spreading terror in the name of Kashmir, and India's deft diplomacy has left Pakistan completely outmaneuvered politically and diplomatically. Bureau Report, India Today. So you heard Maulana Fazlur Rahman. He perhaps sums up the situation the best. He says, कल तक हम सोच रहे थे श्रीनगर कैसे लेना है, आज ये सोच रहे हैं कि मुजफ्फराबाद कैसे बचाना है. Let me bring in our guest on the broadcast. Sushant Sareen is a well-respected Pakistan watcher and a strategic affairs expert. He joins us on the broadcast. Arzu Kazmi is a journalist. She joins us from Islamabad in Pakistan. And Navneet Kaur is a social activist who joins us from Jammu and Kashmir. And Arzu, I want to begin by asking you, what explains this meltdown that's happening in Pakistan, madam? Why is Shireen Mazari blaming Pakistan's diplomats in starched salwars and three-piece suits, if I may quote her?
Thank you so much for inviting me, Gaurav. First of all, who told you that Pakistan can force on or can threat Saudi Arabia? No way. We cannot threat or even force Saudi Arabia for anything. But yes, Pakistan's foreign policy is a big disaster, a big failure. So everybody is disappointed here in Pakistan, even media, the common persons, or even the diplomats, whoever you say. It is a very, very big letdown. That's why we are failed to put Kashmir's issue or to highlight a Kashmir issue properly. That's why some ministers, even Shireen Mazari and others, are not very happy with Qureshi. I think that
no, but why blame Shah Mahmood Qureshi? Why blame Shah Mahmood Qureshi? After all, Imran Khan said, "मैं हूँ ambassador Kashmir का, मैं Kashmir का cause उठाऊंगा." Wasn't this what he was saying? He was the man who led the charge. Blame him. Why poor Qureshi?
Everyone, we are blaming to everybody, but Shah Mahmood Qureshi, he is a minister here, he is a foreign minister. It's his duty to put the Kashmir issue, highlight the Kashmir issue. So everyone is, we are the free country. We can, we can put the blame, or we can say anything which we like to say to even to our ministers.
Okay.
So it's nothing new. You cannot say that we are not allowed to speak out, or we are not allowed to blame or to say anything.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Nothing new in Pakistan failing on Kashmir. Whether it is 4 wars since 1947 or 3 decades of terror, or this so-called diplomacy of Imran Khan, where he says he is the Safir, he is the ambassador of Kashmir. But Sushant Sareen, is the Saudi Arabia visit a reality check for Pakistan, and not just for Imran Khan, but the real leadership of Pakistan, which is Qamar Javed Bajwa and DGISI, that the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman didn't even deem it fit to meet the Pakistani military leadership?
So, Gaurav, I think this has come as a big rebuff to the Pakistanis. You don't expect the most powerful man, the actual ruler of Pakistan, the man in uniform, Qamar Javed Bajwa, who is Imran Khan's selector and his boss, at least de jure, at least de facto, if not de jure, to actually go and pay a state visit, which is almost like a state visit when he goes to Saudi Arabia, and not have worked out his appointments with the top boss in Saudi Arabia in advance. So the fact that he went out there, either he went as a supplicant that he will go out there and he'll try and wrangle some kind of a meeting and then fall on his knees and beg forgiveness, or he was called and then he was rebuffed and he was not given an audience. So clearly, it's a very, very strong signal coming from the South. Also tell you that the great thing is that apart from $1 billion which the Saudis have already taken and the $3 billion oil facilities which they are not extended, they have apparently demanded another $1 billion already, and perhaps the third one will also be demanded. But let me come back to what has happened with Qureshi. Look, Shireen Mazari is a lightweight. Even Qureshi is a lightweight, but Qureshi can at least win one seat. Shireen Mazari can't win an RWA election on her own. What is and the failure of foreign policy on Kashmir is the fact that Shireen Mazari says that Imran Khan was so active on Twitter. So all their foreign policy was on Twitter. There was nothing else Imran Khan was doing, or no other traction he was getting. Now, having said that, what is also happening is that Qureshi was trying to wrangle himself into a position where if Imran Khan fell on the sword, Qureshi would become his replacement. I think Imran Khan has actually put Shireen Mazari to clear the pitch for Qureshi and throw him out. And this entire Saudi fracas.
So if I may, and perhaps, yes, if I may, and Arzu, I'm sorry, Indians will understand this better. कि 24 से 26 बनने गए थे, 24 से 26 बनने गए थे और दुबे बनकर आ गए. That's the story at this point of time of Shah Mahmood Qureshi. But Navneet Kaur, for far too long, the focus has remained on what's happening in Jammu, Kashmir or Ladakh. The focus now, while it should stay on development, the focus should shift to what Pakistan is doing in Gilgit and Baltistan and the exploitation of the people of Gilgit and Baltistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir by China and Pakistan now. Navneet.
Very rightly said, Mr. Sawant. Thank you so much for having me on your show. And when we are talking about the Kashmir issue, comfortably with we choose to forget the other two parts of the state of Jammu and Kashmir, that is the division of Jammu and Ladakh. And when we talk about the erstwhile state of J&K prior to 1947, the areas which are under the illegal occupation of Pakistan, that is the Gilgit Waziristan area, that when we talk about it, yes, Pakistan has majority of the area, 78,000 square kilometer of our area is under Pakistani illegal occupation, and there is no denial to fact that it is very strategically located area, and majority of that territory has been ceded to China. We know that way back in 2015 to the China-Pakistan economic corridor, as a prelude to that agreement, China had leased around 72,000 square kilometer area for 50 years. Sorry, Pakistan had leased that much of Indian territory to China. So for me, it was.
And that is where we should now shift focus to a very large extent. I agree with you. Arzu Kazmi, whether it was war from 1947 to 1999, all the wars Pakistan lost, to 3 decades of terror, to playing the Islamic card, everything from Jinnah to Imran Khan, whatever Pakistan tried, it failed. Is there merit, Arzu Kazmi, in Maulana Fazlur Rahman saying, Kashmir to chodo, ab Muzaffarabad bachao? Yes, situation aa gayi hai.
No, I don't think that this situation aa gayi hai. But obviously, as I said before, that Pakistan is not up to the mark which we expected. Imran Khan and his cabinet, that they will work for Kashmir. But I think, yes, somehow I will agree with Mr. Sushant that most of the time our battle is on Twitter. So that's why everybody here, we are disappointed, and we want Pakistan government to work on it and go strongly for Kashmir, because it's not that India or Pakistan.
Frankly, your war is not just on Twitter. Your terrorists, Pakistani terrorists, Hafiz Saeed, Masood Azhar, Sayyid Salahuddin, your terrorists at the line of control. Your war is not just on Twitter. Twitter is the dikhawa. But Sushant Sareen, perhaps the truth is, people have seen through Pakistan's charade of diplomatic and emotional support to Kashmiris, when the truth is they're killing Kashmiris like they did even today, Sushant Sareen.
Yeah, so Gaurav, the thing is that internationally, whatever bad press India might have got has nothing to do with what Pakistan has done. It is some of our own failings in Kashmir in terms of how we've handled the politics in Kashmir, extended detention of political leaders, the communication lockdown. Nobody has actually said anything to India pleading Pakistan's case. Everybody has said that India, as the largest democracy in the world, needs to do certain things for the people in that territory so that it is in keeping with India's democratic. Some of that criticism is all right, it's well taken. Some of it is a little over the top. But having said that, let me come back to another thing on what's wrong with Pakistani policy. You just played out the clip of the Pakistan Kashmir Affairs Minister. Do you know what his claim to fame is?
Yes.
That he used to supply bottles, and by honey I mean honey-colored liquid, which normally in our parlance is called Scotch whiskey, to Imran Khan. And here is a man who doesn't know what happened in Siachen. When Siachen was, this whole Siachen issue started, he doesn't know anything about Kashmir.
Yes.
And yet he has been made a minister of affairs. So that tells you how much seriousness these guys have on the issue of Kashmir.
Absolutely. And Navneet Kaur, now is the time for Indians to highlight the development that's taking place in Jammu, in Kashmir, and in Ladakh. So as somebody who comes from Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh, has your life changed after abrogation of Article 370?
Absolutely, Gaurav, because I don't see it just as an abrogation of Article of Indian Constitution. I see it as a new lease of life for many of us over here in particular, and the state of Jammu and Kashmir in general. And I think the process that started, the integration process that started after the accession way back in 1947, it's a culmination of the process in the true sense of the word. And the constitutional streaming is happening in our former state and now the two union territories. When we talk about the particular changes, when we see, you see around about 170 central laws that were not applicable here, very progressive laws, they were not applicable here.
Okay.
So we as citizens of India, we were barred from benefits under those laws. And I will just like to name a few of them, like when we talk about National Commission for this Minorities Act, when we talk about here, or we talk about the laws for the scheduled caste or scheduled tribes. And most importantly, when we talk about any region, we want to talk about a nation is known by its future generations. So I would like to talk about the children of Jammu and Kashmir, who are the worst sufferers of terrorism of these, especially of these 3 decades.
Absolutely. So you see, Arzu, how in India, Jammu and Kashmir is developing, how Pakistan occupied Kashmir is literally going to the dogs, and especially Gilgit and Baltistan, and the way Shias are being massacred there. So perhaps is this time for Pakistan to wake up and sort out what's happening in POK and Gilgit and Baltistan before perhaps, as Maulana Fazlur Rahman said, Muzaffarabad bachana mushkil ho jayega?
I think this is the time that Pakistan and India both just leave their dirty politics and sit together and find out what is the way.
No. There is no comparison. ये 1950s की बातें किसी तरह के चैनल में चलेगी, यहाँ नहीं चलेगी. यहाँ पे सच बोलना पड़ेगा. There is no comparison. Your country illegally occupied a part of my country. Never forget that. Pakistan in 1947-48 illegally occupied a part of Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh. So that illegal occupation has to end. Okay, the last 30 seconds. Yes, Navneet Kaur, last 30 seconds.
Gaurav, I want to tell this to Ms. Arzu that my family, and many other, like my families were driven from our land in Pakistan, occupied Jammu and Kashmir, which she keep referring to Pakistan, referring to Azad Kashmir, which Pakistan refers. My family, many thousands of families, we were driven out of our homes. It is our land, and there is no Pakistani claim onto it. It is legalized through instrument of accession. So now Pakistan has got no legal and ethical claim
and
on...
And that Pakistanis will now have to learn. The world has learnt it. Pakistanis need to learn. Okay, Sushant Sareen, last 30 seconds. Go on, sir.
Okay, very quickly. I think you must get your lexicon correct. Article 370 has been amended. It hasn't been abrogated. It remains in the constitution. Number one.
Yes.
Number two, what has happened in Jammu and Kashmir is constitutional reforms. It is not a scrapping of an article of the constitution. What has happened is a reform in the constitution, which brings back rights which all other Indian citizens enjoyed also to the people of Jammu and Kashmir. So I think we need to be very clear on the lexicon we use.
Absolutely. I will let that be the last word on the show. I've run out of time on this show, but Arzu Kazmi, Pakistan's failure can best be explained because the world has woken up to the realities. It's high time Pakistan did the same. To all my guests, many thanks for joining me. That is all I have time for on India First this evening. Many thanks for watching.
Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.